Goddard. This is also another restaurant that's going to be owned and operated by Trey Day. And he is requesting a beer and wine alcoholic beverage license. He does meet the qualifications. The Chief Edmiston has reviewed the application and sees no problem.
Mr. Gallagher?
Consent.
Mr. Burns?
Consent.
Mr. Taylor?
Consent.
Ms. McNeil?
Consent.
Mr. Moore? Thank you. Next item?
Next, item 7, found on page 27, discuss amending the pond broker ordinance, and that'll be Roger Goddard.
While we were going through the codification process of the city ordinances, doing some updating, house cleaning, Chief Edmiston come up with the pond brokers ordinance. We have not updated our pond broker ordinance since 1978, and this is a new ordinance to bring it up to date with state law and make sure they doing business as they should.
Okay.
It'll be for the first reading tonight.
First read, Mr. Gallagher, you okay with carrying that forward?
I am.
Mr. Burns, you okay with carrying it forward? Carrying it forward. Mr. Taylor?
We had careful, yeah, careful.
Mr. Moore, you okay with carrying that forward?
Thank you.
Mr. Moore, you okay with carrying that
Yes,
forward?
sure,
Commissioner Pearson, you're on item number 7.
And what is it concerning?
This is, discuss amending the pond broker ordinance. We gotta carry that forward. So far, everybody's gotta carry it forward for the first reading.
For the first reading, okay, because Roger, I didn't talk with you about the item.
This is normally Chief Edmiston's, but he's going to training, so I'm handling it for him.
Oh,
I didn't discuss this with you because we didn't expect to have to present
time to
it.
do it, okay. All right, that's fine. First
So,
reading.
so Mr. City Manager, since Commissioner Pearson just arrived, would you run back through what we have so far, and then we'll pick up with item 8.
Okay, so far on the consent agenda, we have item number 1, approval of the January 28 minutes. Item 2, approval of the purchase of the annual FY20 baseball, softball, and swim equipment. Item 3, approval of the FY20 sale of the 2005 ladder truck. Item 5, the approval of Bethune-5 Incorporated Alcoholic Beverage License. The last item so far on the consent agenda is approval of 317's alcoholic beverage license. And item 4 will be a take forward, which is recognition of the oldest active wellness program. And then now we're at item 7, taking forward the first reading of the amending of the pond broker ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Any concerns about what's been discussed?
No,
so far?
sir.
Okay. Next item?
Okay, next item, item 8, found on page 41. This will be discussed the approval of WNA Engineering, the company that's been working on our downtown pocket park. They're ready to get to the next level of engineering phases, and George is here to discuss that, architectural services.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As city manager said, back on December 23rd, 2019, we presented a conceptual plan to you all on what the pocket park downtown would look like. And during that meeting, we also come before you to ask for the approval to go to the next phase, which is to get the architectural rendering that will come along with the cost estimates. To do that service is going to be around $15,000. The DDA, you see their support letter within the agenda item. They recommend this firm and that we move forward with that phase. Once we get the fees, the architectural plans, we will come back to you all with those dollar amounts. Once we identify funds, then we will bid it out for construction.
Commissioner Pearson?
Yes, Ms. Henderson and I had a chance to talk about certain items at the retreat. So yes, I'm fine with that.
We're approving the 15, right?
Oh, and the
Wait, so
funds
the-
are proposed to come out of Splash 6. I'm sorry, I
Right,
didn't
You're
say that.
approving WA as the architectural services for that.
Then 15 grand.
Well, it is whatever it's going to be. We
Right.
think it's going to be around 15,000, but it may be 13, maybe 16. We don't know until
They
after
won't
they do it.
exceed 15.
Right, that is what they,
Yeah.
You okay with that consent, Commissioner Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Moore, consent? Madam Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, ma'am.
Turner?
it can exceed 15,000.
No, this, you're right, sir, this
Okay.
agenda item.
Cause I read that, well, that's why I wanted to clear up the
Should.
thing. Okay. But if they do, it come back.
Come back.
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
Does that, Mr. Gow?
I'd like to hear a little bit more about what they would do for that money.
Basically, they're gonna do all the schematics that come with it, the utilities, what they gave you was just basically a picture of what it would look like. Now they're gonna, as an architect, build in all the dynamics of what it would take to construct.
So basically, when they get it done,
That
we're
is
gonna
what-
follow that plan, to actually do it.
That's what, right,
Okay.
that's the service we will bid out.
And they, based on what y'all have looked at, they're comparable with any other, these groups that we've worked with in the past?
Yes,
Okay, I'm okay with it.
Stand here.
That's it.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, be item 9, found on page 44, approval of the updated language access plan, Georgia Henderson.
It is standard with, many of the grant, state, federal funds that we receive, that we update many documents. One is this language access plan. What it's basically saying is that, we're gonna adhere to the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. We have a certain percent of Spanish population in the community, so anytime with our grants and programs that we receive these state and federal funds, we have to advertise public hearings, of sorts like that in Spanish as well as in English. And so this is updated at this time.
Commissioner Pearson.
Yes, we're just following protocol as to what we should do, so definitely, wanna be in compliance,
Consent.
consent.
Mr. Moore. Mr. Miller.
Consent.
Mr. Taylor. Mr. John.
Consent.
Mr. Gow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Next is item 10, found on page 60, EDA appointment. We have Ms. Liddell Greenway's appointment, had expired. We've been running it, she has reapplied. We have a request from the EDA to also reconsider her. And so we're here tonight to ask that the mayor and council appoint Mrs. Liddell Greenway for another 4-year term.
I would put that on consent, since that's under me. Ms. Greenway has been very valuable on there. Mr. Taylor. Mr. Jordan.
Consent.
Mr. Gow. Madam Pro Tem. Mr. Moore. Ms. Pearson.
I'm fine with it. Were there any others who expressed an interest?
No, ma'am.
No others? Okay, yeah. I'm fine with the consent.
Okay, the next item is item 11, found on page 64, titled Discuss Mr. Roscoe Allen's appearance before the city of Douglas City Council agenda within the past 16 months, Commissioner Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
The, thing is, we've already discussed this, time and time again, and I do believe that it's within proper protocol for Commissioner Pearson to put items on our agenda. However, the discussion of this and the next item was also supposed to be discussed at our retreat. And I just don't think that we need to discuss these.
What are we discussing on Mr. Allen? Allen, what are we discussing?
Those 16 months, Mr. Allen, we've already discussed it, so I think.
No, you don't know what I'm proposing or asking, so you can't say we've already discussed it. Well,
Well-
I've never put anything on the agenda about Mr. Allen before.
Well, I think that this council has had enough, information about Mr. Allen over 16 months. I'm just not in, me personally, I'm not in favor of discussing this item and the next item.
Okay, well, thank you.
Mr. Moore, how do you feel about
I
that?
put the item,
Ma'am,
I'm on the
Pro Tem, how do
agenda,
you
I'm
feel?
on the agenda, let me speak, let me
How
say
do you
myself.
feel about that? Mr. Taylor, how do you feel?
Alright, I don't hear enough about Mr. Allen.
Mr. Dillon,
Oppose.
how do you feel about that?
I've heard enough.
All right. so
What
we're
have
gonna-
you all heard? Because
we're gonna
it's my
remove those
agenda
two
item,
items.
it's my
We're gonna
agenda
remove
item,
those two
no,
items.
sir, no, sir.
There's not enough.
No,
Do you
sir.
have- we have
No,
anybody
sir.
on the
It's
meeting
my
for
agenda
general
item.
comments?
It's my agenda item,
We have
Mr. Mayor,
anything-
and you will allow me to speak
Do you
about
have
it.
any
What I
updates?
need to know, Ms.
If not, we
Juanetta,
stand
I
adjourned
need
for
to
a
know
second.
how
Thank-
many minutes
was Mr. Allen allowed to speak at each meeting? That's what I
Work
want to
session is
know.
over.
The next part of the agenda item is about the information the mayor put on our email about the council, being arrested if you talk over 4 minutes, and the form that he proposed, which is illegal. We stated that at the work session, at the retreat, that item pertaining to employees having to sign something saying they would be purged if it's not found to be true. And we have not discussed that. So he cannot take and remove both of those items. I don't care if they did agree. I had it on the agenda, and he's in violation of allowing the items to go forward. But we will discuss it at the regular meeting. So they can walk out all they want, because they don't want to hear the truth, and they know that they are wrong. They are wrong. He didn't even know what I wanted to discuss about Mr. Allen. We've heard enough about Mr. Allen. What have you heard? You haven't heard what I wanted to know. What's the totality of minutes that Mr. Allen has came before the council, and how many times has he been interrupted by the mayor to not allow him to finish speaking what he had to say? Ms. Boulder, I need you to write down what I'm saying. Please, ma'am. I need this to be recorded. What I'm requesting. Oh, Johnny's doesn't record the work session.
But he's adjourned the
It's
meeting, so I
audio
don't do
recording now.
anything.
It's audio recorded now. That's all I need to know.
Oh, yeah.
And we can't get a motion in here. He told the commissioners this is illegal to ask for a polling of votes inside of a work session. He just keeps violating the law, and it's just sad how certain commissioners sit and allow him to do so. Commissioner Durham, since you're still here, any comments from you? Because I'd like to hear them.
I just wanted to give an understanding of the strategic thing that he sent the email on, since I wasn't in the retreat, but we couldn't have no dialogue, but I don't see, why he sat there and didn't want to discuss it, because it didn't bring no wrong with me.
And I've never had it on the agenda to discuss Mr. Allen's issue, but I wanted to know the time frame that he came forward, because he feels that he was cut off before his time was allotted.
All right, everybody. Let me come back over here in my little cubby hole in City Hall that I use from time to time when we have situations like this. Normally, the work sessions go well into the, close to the 7 o'clock hour. Tonight, work session ended about 16 or 17 minutes after 6 o'clock. Now, once again, there were several people commenting about the audio. If you can't hear the audio with where I'm sitting, with how I've got it planned tonight and how I've got it set up tonight, if you can't hear the audio from the podium, then there's not anything I can do to fix that. That's going to be a problem on your end, because I'm sitting right by the speaker, 3 or 4 feet away, not much farther away than I am right now. And if you can't hear, if you're not able to hear that, now maybe what's said from the commissioners' tables, that kind of thing, particularly Commissioner Moore, he doesn't speak very loudly, and he's away from the microphone. He leans back, so you probably won't be able to hear Commissioner Moore no matter what. But otherwise, if you can't hear the way I had it set up in there, that's not going to be anything that I will be able to fix. Now, what we saw there at the end of the meeting, Commissioner Pearson wanted to talk about Mr. Roscoe Allen's appearances at the city commission meetings over the last 16 months. She also wanted to address an email that the mayor sent related to the planning retreat that the city had the other day. And the mayor and the rest of the commission did not want to discuss those items. Again, the mayor was saying that it was kind of senseless to talk about it. Several others didn't want to talk about Mr. Allen either, so they took a vote and adjourned the meeting, and Commissioner Pearson and Commissioner Durham stayed in the meeting and continued to talk amongst themselves. So that was what just went on. And normally, whenever that kind of stuff goes on, a lot of times I will sit in there and let everybody say their piece, but I didn't do it tonight, because sometimes I think when the cameras are rolling, that prolongs things that folks like to play up for the camera and kind of make a spectacle out of it. So I don't want to feed that tonight. So I got up and left too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the camera off here in a minute. We're going to come back for the regular meeting at 7 o'clock. Actually, let me see. Y'all bear with me for a minute. It might get a little shaky here. I've got a table here I can set this. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to cut the camera off here in just a minute. And then I'm going to come back here around 7 o'clock, and we'll discuss the general meeting, or we'll be here for the general meeting. So that's what happened. Again, tried to be a few fireworks. Mentioned there might be some of this stuff go on. There tried to be, but the commission nipped it in the bud. And I'm going to tell you what's going on. I mean, in talking to people, talking to folks close to the city, and some folks on the commission, they're a little bit tired of this kind of stuff. And you can see it, and they're not gonna put up with it. Now the opponents, the mayor's opponents, the other the opponents of the other commissioners are going to say they're trying to silence people, they're trying to take away people's right to speak and that kind of thing. And that's not what's going on. I think if anybody has any meaningful dialogue to discuss, they will certainly give people an audience, but they're not going to do it for this kind of stuff. And I agree with them. And I've said this before, and I think most people watching would agree with it. There's no point in discussing this stuff with Roscoe Allen. Roscoe hasn't been banned from City Hall, but because of the restraining order, he can't be within 500 yards of the mayor for a year. So he's been effectively banned from the city commission meetings. He's been banned from one local business. He's been banned from South Georgia State College. He's going to end up getting banned from the school board meetings. Okay, now he goes to school board meetings every so often and does kind of same stuff the Board of Education he does here. But given the school system's emphasis on safety and on campus safety, and given what Mr. Allen has done in the past, or the past year, I think that it's well within the school system's policies and procedures on campus safety and facility safety to not allow him to come back. And I was talking to some folks about this earlier, talked to several people about it, and in every shooting event or every violent event that has happened, there have always been signs that were there well in advance, that people ignored or people didn't take seriously or something like that. And given what's happened with Mr. Allen in the past, certainly if something bad happened, if the unthinkable were to happen in one of these meetings or to one of these commissioners or other elected officials out in public, certainly there have been enough signs and enough warnings that it could be prevented. Okay, and this is the time in which we live. So I think that it's well within the commission's right and any governing body's right in Coffee County to not allow him to show up. Now again, if he wants to talk about something meaningful, he wants to talk about something pertinent to the issues of the day or the concerns of the city, then that's one thing, and that's something else. But if you want to just ramble and talk and make statements that can be construed as threats, that's not a good policy. That's not what they need to be doing. So anyway, I know how this is going to be framed. I know how it's going to be set up from here and what the opponents will say. But again, I mean, this is one of those things that just bogs the commission down. There's no point in interfering with the city's business to talk about stuff like this. But that's what just went on. For those of you that watched, Ms. Pearson wanted to talk about a couple of things, more of this stuff that goes on, and the rest of the commissioners didn't want to do it. Commissioner Durham wanted to, Commissioner Pearson wanted to, They took the votes and adjourned the meeting, and everybody left. And I'm down the hall. I'm actually in the main lobby of City Hall right now, so I don't know what's going on in there. I've got to go back in and get something, but I'm gonna leave and get out of here for about 30 more minutes, and then I'll be back. But that's where we are, and that's what went on. Of course, you can see I haven't worn my shirt in a while. I know it's backwards because of the way the camera's turned around, but this is my city commission shirt. Integrity, error, word not found. There are some people in the chambers who do not exhibit very much in the way of integrity. This is Beverly Kills, by the way. Beverly Kills, check it out. I don't get paid for any of this. I just like the stuff. So, but check it out, and you might like what they've got. But anyway, we're going to get out of here. Take about a 30-minute break. We're going to cut the camera off. We'll come back at 7 o'clock for the regular meeting. But that's what's going on at City Hall. Again, there were some fireworks, but thankfully it did not last very long. So we're going to take a break. We'll see you in about 30 minutes.